All right. Well, Drew, I'm glad you came on. KP, let me give you a little background real quick. This is Drew Jones, another one of our bright, intelligent stars out here in the world that's going to do it real big for us. I go back to her mom and her dad. They're Alamedians. You know, I live in Alameda, and her mom. I only met her dad like once or twice, but I seen him around a couple times at some games right when you left and went to college. But I didn't really see him too much that much. But her mom and I are really good friends, and she does a lot of work in Alameda in the Girls Softball Association, and she's been involved with that since the startup. And so that's how I know her. And like I said, her mom was supportive of me when I went into coaching. When Aaliyah started softball, her mom was the one that green lighted me. You know what I'm saying, Ken, how that worked? Ken, you know how that worked? Somebody got to give you a chance, right, Ken?
Yeah.
So her mom was the one was giving out the chances on the West End. So yeah, so this young lady right here, just a little bit. We don't let her tell her own story, but Ken, she's an amazing young lady, and when we get into her life story, you're gonna be like blown back at what this kid's done. She was a phenomenal athlete, but she's very high intellectual too. So that's kind of what we look for. Me and Ken, we look for high intellectual, athletic people, all that stuff, and we coach and stuff, Drew. So you check all the boxes. So
I need to come hang out with you guys more often. Give me compliments.
yeah. And Ken's a good friend of mine. He's a Berkeley native. Went to graduate Berkeley High, went to Southern University, historical Black college. Coach, real well-rounded young man. They call him Jamaican. Like he does so many different things. Jamaican.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, he hustled.
There you go.
Yeah, he get his. So, hey, Drew, let me go ahead and welcome you to the Glue, episode 14. Thank you very much for taking out this time in your day to do this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to chit-chat with y'all.
Yeah, so just give you a little backdrop in case you haven't checked any of the episodes out. The Glue was basically started by me, and I was sitting back watching a lot of media and stuff like that, Twitter and all that. And one thing I noticed that everything was dominated by celebrities and famous people and rich people and only their opinions, but there was a bunch of followers. I'm thinking like, man, you guys agree with everything these people say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was odd that one person can have 20 million followers and all these people are in 100% concert with what they're saying. I thought that's too much power. So for me, I said, well, let me create something where I can bring in regular people. They're not really that regular because they're the glue people of America. They're the people that don't break the law, that don't manipulate things, that don't go through life trying to destroy people's lives just so they can step up. So they're really just the ordinary people, in my opinion. They're really vital, important people. And I just thought maybe we should tell their stories and how they got to where they're at and where they get all their moral foundation. You feel me?
Absolutely. Takes a village, right?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So Ken and I, we sat back and said, let's do it. So let me go ahead and get into this. Here we are, 2020, COVID-19, unprecedented times. Got this virus out here killing people. We got a lot of theories behind it and all this kind of stuff. So let's just start with like, how has it affected you in your life, in your family?
Well, I'm unemployed. First and foremost. I still have an internship that I'm working, so I get to work 20 hours a week from home. Okay. But Ken, since you don't know me as well, I actually work for the Oakland Athletics, and I also work for the West Coast Conference, a collegiate athletic conference. And so, as you know, baseball is not around right now, so I not getting to work where I want to be working, and I also am not getting that income, you know what I mean? So that's something I was really looking forward to this year. And I was going to have a lot more opportunities with the A's this year. I was speaking a lot more with our executive producer. And as you know, Mark, I've been working on an on-air sports reporter career. And so I was going to get some of those opportunities this year. So I'm like, dang, now did that just drop me down a couple posts on the ladder? So trying to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable and learning new tricks of the trade. And so there has been negative things that have impacted me because of COVID-19, but I've also tried to look at the positive. Now I'm trying to get another, I don't know why I go to school so much, but I'm trying to get another certificate just so I can learn little bit more about different parts of the sports industry. trying to hang out with my family more. As you know, sports is a nights and weekend job. And when you're first starting out, you don't really make a lot of money. So I was having to work 3 jobs, working 7 days a week. So now I actually get to relax and spend time with my family. I get to work out more. I get to read more. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of stuff going on in the news lately, but before all of that, at least I was happy, for lack of better phrasing. So positives and negatives coming with COVID-19, but trying to make the best of a bad situation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what life's really all about, because it's not going to be really, it's only a hand. My mom told me a long time ago, she said, boy, you need to stop complaining. She said, it's only about 40, 30 bad days in a year. So you need to get over it. And I remember she used to always say that, and as I got older, I started thinking like, man, how many bad days is it in a year? And then when you really go back, now that everybody's on social media, I was just sitting back one day, just scrolling through my Facebook, your memories pop up. So every memory was like super happy. And then every now and then you would see something tragic happen or something. And my mom was right about that. There's not really that many bad days, in a 365-day calendar year. It just seems like the weight of it ruins the whole year, So yeah, you got to be positive. Well, so with that being said, have you had anybody personally that got COVID-19? Your neighbor, friend, family, class?
No, actually, I don't know one person that has COVID-19. I know friends who know people who have gotten it, but personally, thank God, I don't know anybody.
Right. KP, you got anything for on this COVID?
Do you have any conspiracy theories about the COVID?
I did in the beginning. When COVID first came out, I was definitely one of those people like, this is bioterrorism, why is it only in China and it's nowhere else yet? But then when it started spreading to all these countries, I kind of was thinking a little bit more about it. And I was like, there's no way that this was necessarily concocted in a laboratory. Then again, we don't know. They're still investigating certain theories and ideas, but I definitely think that there could have been more done to prevent the spread of it. So as far as the virus is concerned, the science of it, I get it, but what are we doing as people to prevent these things from happening? Are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, cool. Like, why don't we have an oh shit plan? You know what I mean? Like you're telling us as people in our everyday lives, you need to have a savings account just in case. Why doesn't the state have one of those? Why doesn't the US have one of those? You know what I mean? Why are we in debt? Oh my God, why is this such a big deal that we're giving people a stimulus check? You know what I mean? So it makes me think more along the lines of that, That's why I think like it couldn't necessarily been concocted in a laboratory for that reason, because we didn't have a oh shit plan. We weren't ready.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, we're not going to spend too much time on that, because I agree with you. Doing 13 episodes, and so this topic we covered it. But I'm always going to ask it, because it's unprecedented, and everybody who comes on here has a right to tell their side of the COVID. Because we've been hearing a lot of different stories though, so it's not like they all been exactly the same. Ken, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, no, we have people that haven't been affected. We have people whose immediate family has been affected. I've learned that a lot of people have had the virus without the fever. So that was something that
yeah, we've heard a lot of different stories, and even Ken will tell you his story about his son. He was playing basketball in Europe. He's a professional player, and when COVID hit, they had to send him home. But prior to that, he said they were full workout. Drew, you're an athlete. Basketball is one of the most touchy-feely sports on earth.
Absolutely. That's
the one sport where it's inevitable you're gonna get some sweat thrown up in your mouth, lip, nose area, everything.
Right.
Softball, please. And half the girls don't sweat anyway in the whole game. But anyway, I'm just on my own team, Drew. My team a little lazy. Okay.
I feel that. My dad says real athletes sweat immediately. So that's how you know. That's how you know.
Wake up sweaty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So let's move on real quick, Juice, because I brought you in here for a reason, because I want your story to be told, who you are, and I want you to dig into your parents. The one part I want you to hold off on, wait to the end. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. That's fine.
Yeah, let's wait to the end on that. Just talk about your parents, but don't explain that other part till we get to the end, because I want to have a true observation of who you are at the end of the show. So go ahead, tell us who you are, where was you born, how was life growing up, any siblings, were you close with your grandparents, aunties, cousins, school. How was school? I know where you grew up, but the world don't. Tell them about the little city you grew up, what schools you went to, softball, all that little impact stuff that helped shape and form who you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am from Alameda, California, born and raised, living here right now. I love living here because it's the heart of the Bay Area. Also, you know, when you think about different cities in the Bay Area, I feel a little bit more safer living here than other places necessarily. What else can I tell you about Alameda? Yeah, so growing up, I went to Alameda High School, Wood Middle School, Haight Elementary School, which is now Love Elementary School. They renamed it because the person that was the school was named after was apparently, now that people actually look at history books, was regarded as a racist person. Anywho, so growing up, I played a few different sports. Played softball, I played golf, I went into martial arts and dance, kind of experimented with a couple of different things, but softball was definitely my love and passion. So growing up, we went all over God's green creation, traveling for tournaments. I mean, I was playing at a very competitive and elite level for many, many years. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, I ended my career after high school, but then I went to University of the Pacific, and I was the team manager for the team there. So I kind of like to say I was the funnest bench player to be around.
Whoa. Let's back up. But first of all, let me just go ahead and jump up in here. First, anybody listening to this girl was not no bench player. This girl was okay. So coming out of high school, she had looks, she had opportunities, but her family is all about academics. So people need to understand when you got parents that are trying to make sure you last the long haul, they are always going to lean on the side of academics. Now, do some kids have the luxury to just go full bore academics because maybe their dad was Kobe or maybe their dad was LeBron? Yeah, because they if that doesn't work out, they still have equity. So that's two different things. But when you're a regular person that's working, you have a retirement plan, a pension, a 401k, you got all these mutual funds, and you're trying to put your kid to college, and they say, hey, do you want to go over here and chase this softball dream, or do you want to go to this top-notch academic school, University of Pacific, located in Southern California? It's not a hard decision. But for anybody watching this, don't let her talk you out that she wasn't a dominant softball player. This kid was off the hook. If to put her into today's game right now, 2020, she would be a top PGF qualifying kid. She would probably be in a super 100 of her graduating class. So that if anybody want to have some perspective, anybody know about softball, if you can be ranked in the top 100 of your graduating class, you're a baller. Now go ahead, Drew Jones. Go and tell them about it.
Well, thank you. I thought of myself as a good player. I was a good role player. I played outfield. I wasn't quick, but I was fast. You know what I mean? You know the difference. But I love that game so much, and I take it with me in my career today. You know, I want to continue to push this game forward, to make this game more bigger on a global scale. I mean, if baseball can do it, why can't softball? You know what I mean? And also, if we can have the MLB, why can't we have the National Pro Fast Pitch? Why do we still only have 6 teams? You know what I mean? So I take it with me in my mind, my heart, my soul, my career every day. So. Thank you. I appreciate the nod.
It's the truth, man. I mean, come on. Well, go ahead, Drew. So let's talk about. Let me ask you. So coming out of Alameda High School, and now you're at UOP. Now you said like, hey, growing up in Alameda, you always liked it because you felt pretty safe around other cities. Now I know where Stockton, California is. I lived out that area. Stockton is not really Alameda. There's 2 sides to Stockton. If anybody ever been out there, there is one side that looks like a mirage because it's very beautiful, clean, and then there's another side by the railroad tracks that splits Lodi off in half. And when you go over that side, it's pretty rough. A lot of stuff go down out there. Explain what that campus is like. It's a really interesting campus. I'm not going to say weird. It's small. It's unique. It's not what you would think for a top academic university. So explain how campus life was at UOP. Interesting university.
I would compare Stockton and UOP to Alameda and Oakland. Easy comparison. I mean, Alameda is its cute little suburb place. I hate calling it a suburb because it's not exactly like that, but you know, cute little town. You got your police force, the crime level's low, blah, blah, blah. Same thing at UOP. It's like a cute little town. You have your own school, department of police, and it's pretty safe. You got kids I mean, let's be real. It's like a 6% Black population, like white nation people, the percentage of those specific demographics is really high. Same thing in Alameda. And then you have right outside the school perimeter is what people are like, oh my God, Stockton, is it safe to, you know, and it's one of those things that's really, it's a more of a perception than it is like actually Stockton's a bad place. I liked living in Stockton. The only thing I really didn't like was the weather and that there wasn't a beach. The weather's horrible.
It's hot.
But I met some really good people. It's real hot. But what's cool is like, it really tapers off in the fall. So it's really beautiful in the fall, and the leaves that just turn, I mean, it's beautiful. The winter time is when it gets really, really cold. So it's interesting having those like polar opposites. But anywho, I going to UOP, actually met some really incredible people there that are from Stockton. What UOP tries to do, maybe they're not always doing the best job, what they try to do is get kids from Stockton enrolled at UOP, and if you qualify for certain programs, your tuition's actually paid for. So that's kind of a cool thing that they do there. So I got to meet people that were actually from the city of Stockton, you know, and then you're kind of straying away more from the people that just come in, the rich kids or whatever. Because school's really expensive, I'll tell you that. But the kids that come in that can actually pay for their tuition, that look down on Stockton, and you have these people that are like, no, this is my city, and this is actually the good parts of my city. So I kind of compare it, because I in my mind I wanted to go to a bigger school. I wanted to go to a football school right out of high school, and I didn't. But I did go somewhere that reminded me of home, so that was kind of nice.
Right. So now your major. Now, when you went in, obviously you're a freshman. You're just trying to get your feet wet. You know, this and that and the other. Now, take us to like your junior year, or maybe it was your sophomore. When did you start getting that vision that, hey, I want to be an ESPN broadcaster or whatever, a journalist, whatever? You know, it's blurred, in my opinion. When I grew up, I'm older than you, Ken and I. When we grew up, they were all journalists. They wrote columns for newspapers, and you know, and then eventually the cameras came. So they were behind the camera first, and then they got a little shot at the camera. I remember when the first ESPN broadcast went up. It wasn't what it is now. It's a lot of bells and whistles with it now. But those guys, Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon, and those guys, Rob Parker and Stephen A.
Stuart Scott.
Stuart Scott, rest in peace, Stuart Scott. Those guys were all writers, beat writers. Okay.
Yeah, I actually know Rob Parker. He's a mentor of mine.
I know that. That's why I dropped. That's why I dropped Motown's finest name. But
drop the dime.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is like I said, like me, like Kenny, you can probably contest to this. A lot of those announcers were all white, okay, and they were all. You didn't see that many, so that's why when people hate on Stephen A. Smith or someone, I'd say, man, kick rocks, man. You know how hard this dude had to work to even get even close to having his own show, to be one of the top media guys in the country, the largest voice, loudest voice. Whether you like him or not, don't never dismiss that man's work. So take us to like now. You want to be a journalist. You want to be one of these media people. And if there's any light you can shed on it, how that process went as an undergrad, because now we'll get to your grad in a minute.
I just want to start by saying I'm pretty sure Stephen A. Smith is a Steelers fan, so I'm just always going to like him for that. He's always given nods to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But yeah, UOP, I went in with every intention of becoming a doctor. I wanted to be in the science field. I wanted to be in the medical field. And after my first semester, I was like, nope. Not that I didn't like science, but literally my first semester. It's not that I didn't like science. It was I wanted to be able to have something outside of work. You know, I wanted to be able to leave my dorm room and go hang out with friends. I wanted to be able to join a club. I wanted to be able to join a sorority. I wanted to be able to work for the softball team. You know what I mean? And I wasn't going to be able to do that as a science major. And so one of my friends was a communication major. And at that point I was like, I think I want to get into acting. I think I want to be an actor. So I switched to communication, because if you don't make it as an actor, you probably should have some sort of other degree. And I also took acting classes. And then at the same time, I was writing for our I was writing for our newspaper. So I was a sports writer, and then I later became the sports editor. And with that, I didn't know it at the time, but it wasn't like I just wanted to continue writing for the newspaper. Like I had to. It was an obligation and it was a responsibility. And it was because there wasn't that many people around to tell sports stories specifically. And it was just something fun to do also in my downtime. And then later on, my acting professor, we had a class, and he was like, you know, becoming an actor is a really hard life, because if you don't make it, you're pretty much living in poverty. So if you don't need to be an actor, I'll never forget this. If you don't need to be an actor, then don't be an actor. And I was like, wow, that is so profound. Like, what are the reasons I actually want to be an actor? I mean, I want to be creative. I want to express myself. I want to, I want to wear a Renaissance dress one day and I want to wear a homeless outfit the next day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I was like, do I need that in order to be fulfilled? No. So I was like, well, I really enjoy sports writing. I really enjoy being in front of the camera, and I married the two. And so right before kind of the end of my senior year, I was like, I want to be a sports reporter on air specifically. But I didn't learn those skills at UOP. So then I had to take my academic journey down to USC and get my master's down there. So that's kind of, that was the thought process behind becoming a sports reporter.
Okay. Ken, you want to touch upon anything on our UOP live? We're going to jump right into the next topic on this. She's kind of touching upon it right now. Anything you got for this young lady?
UOP, beautiful campus. Had a couple players that played basketball against them, and one or two players that played for them. So it was pretty exciting campus because they really got behind their basketball team. They was pretty good the years that I was out there, going to watch my players play.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good program. I'm sad that I don't know if you guys knew this, but they were a part of the Big West before they became a part of the WCC again, right? Yeah. So I was there right at that shift. My sophomore year is when we moved to the WCC. And because of all the sanctions that came down because of students and test scores and how they actually get into UOP and blah, 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 they actually sanctioned the school, and the school forfeited the Big West championship that they won my freshman year. And they didn't even notify any of the players or anything. And so that's a sad moment for me.
Wow. That sucks.
Nah, y'all still the champs because
right.
all them schools cheated. They just didn't get caught.
Right.
Yep. Okay, well, you know what? Let's move on real quick. So got a hot button topic here. One of the things that I've been advocating for a long time, and, growing up watching, I was a big Hollywood fan. I grew up in a little bit of Chicago most of my life. Then I moved to California, so it was a lot of long winters, and kids grow up. We just watch TV. That's what you do. You snowed in. You got to be in there watching TVs and movies. And as a young kid, I always recognized the indifference of how the media projected Black people. You know what I'm saying? I always noticed that. I even to this day, I just never just because I don't talk about stuff don't mean that I don't notice it, right? But when I'm at home minding my own business, doing my own thing, and I click through the TV set, first 48, brothers getting arrested. I click over to this station, brothers getting arrested. I turn this cheap, trashy talk show, a couple of Black people arguing, acting a fool. I turn it, you know what I mean? I keep turning. Not to say that some of those shows don't have white people getting arrested and acting stupid, like Jerry Springer also. But however, when you sift through all the garbage television, you don't see Black people in the quality television. And so that always stuck with me, because if you're going to do trashy shows with all races, man, go for it. But then when you move up to that next level, you don't see no more color. And in the next level, they go back to a servant role in that position of that show. And so until, maybe Anthony Anderson, you got to go back to Bill Cosby, really. I know people say Bill Cosby, man, whatever, man. Yeah, man, hold on, this is the glue. Chicks going up in hotel rooms with no underwear on and popping pills and all that kind of stuff, and some shit happened. Man, don't come crying to me. You handle your business. The old man asking you to come up to his room 1 a.m. What's your butt doing up there anyway? So I don't even want to get into all that. I just think sometimes people put themselves in harm's way with some creeps, but then when it go bad, they want to blow a whistle. But when they doing it, they ain't saying nothing. But it could be some problems there. So I don't want to dismiss anybody being, treated wrong, because Lord knows there's some dirty shit in Hollywood. But
that's true. If he was a good person, he wouldn't have done what he did. I'll just put it at that.
Right. That has nothing to do with Hollywood. That's that individual. So my point is, do you feel the media, filmmakers, news crew, news outlets, are they culpable for some of the perception of Black people that could actually have an influence on white people who don't know much about Black culture? Meaning, like, if I'm a white guy with a white fat wife, I live in some rural country farm in Kansas, and my population is only 80 people. Okay, I remember Carson Wentz had a report he put out where he said he grew up in small North Dakota or whatever, South Dakota, a couple hundred people, no Black people. He said, so man, I didn't really know. I don't know much about Black culture, and I never try to pretend to be black or act like a, whatever they try to, whatever the perception was. So I respected his opinion on that. And I thought like, well, wait a minute now. That's a good point, because if you don't know much about a culture or how they live, act, you don't have no friends, you ain't went to school with nobody, and you just turn on TV, and then all of a sudden you go on a vacation to LA or something, and you go to Disneyland, and all of a sudden 6 brothers walk up, and you're like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that could be a little culpability by the perception of the media, the filmmakers and all that. What's your take on that, Drew? You think that has a little bit to do with it? It's not their fault, anybody listening. I'm not blaming Hollywood, because, there's no, you can't never escape being ignorant and being a racist. So you can't blame Hollywood or none of that stuff. I'm just saying, do you think sometimes it could actually play an influence on a group of people who don't know nothing about what they're looking at?
Absolutely. Short answer, yes.
Short answer.
Longer answer, I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and I was like, let's break it down here. Big picture. People that are Trump supporters and don't research, Google search, open a book, watch a movie, etc., and aren't exposed to like what's really going on, are just going to take whatever at face value. So how do we fault them for that? And then, some people counter like, well, everybody, like, you went and Google searched and da-da-da. Yeah, but not everybody's like me. Honestly, not everybody is educated, has street smarts, been exposed to other cultures, at least in the Bay Area. Like, while I grew up in a town that had a smaller Black population, at least I knew Black people existed. At least I knew that Black people owned businesses and strived for bigger and better things. In some places, they just don't have that. So if all you're seeing is, like you said, if I turn on the news and I'm seeing another mugshot of a person, I mean, look, put it to you like this. Look at the news story. What picture are they using for the suspect, and what picture are they using for the victim? Every time they're showing a picture of a Black person, whether they're a suspect or a victim, it looks like a mugshot. Yep. Or something that's dehumanizing, or it's a bad picture of them, like it's not flattering. You know what I mean? But more often than not, when they're showing like let's say a professor, sexually assaulted one of his students, what picture are they using? His headshot that's on the school's website.
Yes.
Making him stand out and look like he's better than he really is. And then you look at situations like what happened with Brock Turner. He's a college educated guy.
Drew, can you just go ahead and touch upon? I know who Brock Turner is. I know the whole story inside and out. Could you just touch real quickly what it was and it entailed?
Brock Turner was a student at Stanford University. I believe he was on the swim team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
And he raped somebody behind a dumpster and was only given a 3-month sentence. Forcible rape of a person that was intoxicated and unconscious. And
he was stopped by 2 fellow students that were passing by and said, "What the hell are you doing, dude?" And they pulled him off of him, and then he ran, and then those 2 students, I think, assisted her a little bit or something. It just dissolved. They were ready to give they gave testimony to the Stanford Police Department. He got sniffed out because his dad is friends with judge in that county, San Mateo County, I think it is. Or what county is that one over there? Palo Alto, San Mateo. That's San Mateo County?
Yeah, San Mateo County, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think that his dad is a judge or a friend with a judge that sat on that actual case, which made it even more corrupt. So, the words for the judge was, "Hey, boys make mistakes," or something like that. I can't remember how the quote went. Like, they make mistakes. We don't want to throw his whole life away for one bad decision. I'm thinking like, wow. Wow. But go ahead, Drew. Go get back what you're saying.
But yeah, that's the point, is we glorify certain people and we dehumanize other people. And I went to journalism school. When I went to USC, I went to journalism school and we talked about these things. How do we not make our messages look like this? If we have somebody who made a graphic and there's a silhouette of a man, like, okay, wait, this graphic, that looks like a Black person. We're actually dehumanizing this person by including a silhouette in this picture. So it's having these conversations. It's also diversifying who you talk to and hang out with. And that's from everybody. That's all races. Everybody should have at least one friend, at minimum, one friend of another race. Seriously. Or else you're never going to be exposed to other perspectives. So back to the point of somebody being ignorant, it's they legitimately have not been exposed to other people's cultures. And so my boyfriend's from Pennsylvania. He's from Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's a pretty forward-thinking town. The little township that he's from, there was one black kid at his school. Every time I go to visit, his family and stuff, I don't ever see one Asian person or one Hispanic person, ever. So even if they're not racist, how are they going to feel compelled to be anti-racist? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can go on and on about that.
Right.
Those are just a couple of examples.
No, good point. Ken, you got anything on that area?
It's I think the media is part of the problem. We don't have any positive black shows, any Cosby shows, any A Different World where abundance of black kids are at college. We don't have any of those type of settings and shows anymore. It's all Basketball Wives and Family Hustle and reality this and reality that, which a lot of people get their chance and they act a complete fool. But I guess if you were on the reality show and everybody got along and was peaceful, that wouldn't get a lot of ratings. But I think it's all about ratings and popularity and money now, and not
the
enough.
Look. You have to have the look.
Right. So
everybody has the same look, and it's just like it's a popularity contest. It's not about quality values anymore.
Correct. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, myself, like when I actually spend a lot of time on Twitter. Facebook is really for my family and stuff like that. It turns a little political for me because that's, it was the first service that I was really out there where you can do a lot of cool stuff on it. And when you get older, 50, most of your friends are on Facebook anyway. A lot of them don't. I do Twitter because it's a better feed for me for following people that have more content, like Sean King, guys like that. So I tend to lean toward Twitter. A lot of very conscious, intellectual black people on Twitter, because we have a lot of representation from the HSBCs and all that kind of stuff, and these power colleges. Like I follow a professor that's out of Ohio State. He talks to me personally, and PhD, very bright, came from the projects, and just really wonderful people, and that's what inspired me to do this show. So what I was saying was like the imagery to me. We'll move on, but I just want to focus on let people understand that the imagery from the news, the filmmakers, the shows, and all these different things have a profound effect on the Black community, particularly if you only see yourself in these images. One of the things that stands out to me, I did a little background on John Singleton, rest in peace, a great filmmaker, did a lot of good stuff for the community. But still, even him, one of his things he talked about, one of the saddest days is one of the guys, I don't know if you guys remember Boys in the Hood, the kid that shot Ricky in the alley. Mm-hmm. That kid was just a third, fourth actor, like really a nonverbal role. You know more how that works, Drew. Nonverbal role. So meaning that he wasn't a big time part of the movie, but the one role he did have is that he killed the heartthrob of the movie, the kid that we all wanted to see make it out, Ricky. So the point of the story is that kid in life ended up being tragic. I think he ended up dying in prison or got shot in the streets. He ended up, right after that, he went through a psychological battle in his brain. He couldn't decipher from when he was on film and when he wasn't. So the mere fact that he never held a gun in his life, the first time he ever held a gun was that scene in Boys in the Hood. Think about this for a minute. He never held a gun in his life. He didn't grow up in gang banging. He didn't do any of that stuff. He just wanted to be an actor. This is the role he got thrown to him. Not to throw John Singleton on the bus, because he talked about how he never knew that this kid was battling this. But all the while, he was doing some stuff. John Singleton found out, bailed him out a couple times, but he just went on a deep end, going around and murdered. Like this dude turned out to be a killer. Just life turned to a complete train wreck. And then Tupac Shakur, when he did Bishop, Juice, a lot of people I know that was close to Pac told me that personally that movie really changed him. The robbery in Marin in Oakland had a lot to do with him. Once he was a victim of a violent crime, a pistol whipping robbery, and then the fact that he played the role Bishop, and then, you know what I'm saying? And then all the studio shooting and all that kind of stuff, all that violence. What I'm getting at is that people have to really understand when you when all you see is violence and then imagery, sometimes it plays a twist on your brain. Like, maybe it's what I'm supposed to be, you know? So I just why I want to bring that point up, because I think some people, they underestimate the power of media and films, and kids who grow up in poor neighborhoods and stuff. Their parents need to really monitor it a little bit. Don't lie to them. Like, this shit really happens, but don't just let them just gobble it up all day long and no other good solid content. That's the point of why I wanted to make that. So let's move on real quick, Drew, to some solutions in the hiring process of police officers, judges, etc. One of the things I thought of was like the real Rooney Rule. I wrote down right here. The Rooney Rule, in case people don't know what that is, that was a rule put in by the NFL by one of the first owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He thought the hiring unfair in the NFL. He wanted more executives, GMs, head coaches. So the rule basically, I'm not gonna do the whole rule. You can do your own homework. We ain't got time for all that. But basically, bottom line, that you had to bring so many minority people in for an interview for a position, head coach or above. It has not been executed well. I would absolutely say it's failed. It does not exist. It's just banana in the tailpipe. There is no Rooney Rule in the NFL. The numbers prove it. I'm not gonna go into that. Do your own homework. However, the principle of the Rooney Rule made a lot of sense. So I was wondering, do you think that possibly if we put a Rooney Rule in the police department, justice systems and all that, could that fix it? Because if you have minority people in the hiring process as superiors, maybe they can control and push down that hate that's coming in there, and make people go to another field of work that have hate in their heart.
I think that would help. I mean, there's multiple answers and solutions and things.
Oh, no, for sure. I just want to stay on the hiring process, because all the other stuff is irrelevant unless you ain't going to have equal hiring process. To me, right. A lot of this rhetoric is a waste of time. If you're not going to change who you have in position of power, if you're not going to change the laws that are written on paper, if you're not going to put people of color in the positions to actually be a part at least of the hiring process, then we might just go ahead and pack our bag and go to hell, because ain't nothing going to change.
Right.
So I mean, what can we do about the hiring process?
It's a top-down effort. Look at our government, look at the Senate, look at the House of Representatives. It is not representative of its people by any means. And that's for all different demographics. Like, yes, we need more people of color in there, but also, why are you all old? You know, you're not representing my voice as a young person. Why are you all men? Hello, why are you all men and you're voting on a pink tax? That doesn't make any sense to me. You don't need to use a tampon, you know? So top-down effort, we need to see more people of color, more women, more young people in a lot of different positions. So starting with the government. I think the Rooney Rule, a semblance of a Rooney Rule right. would help. The only problem is you can't hire based on race, gender, sexual orientation, religion. So I feel like that.
Whoa. They do it now. There's no women hardly in any leadership positions. There's no people of color. No.
Oh, that's true.
It's already being executed.
That's what it says in law. You can't hire based on those factors, right? But if you're required to at least interview somebody, a person of color, then that would.
Right.
I mean,
interview.
The numbers.
We're talking
increase.
interview, not hire.
Right.
Interview.
And that's what the Rooney Rule basically does, is allow us to get interviewed, but because of the lack of diversity and the ownership, they're all a bunch of good old boys. Absolutely. And they'll come bring you in for the interview to meet that quota, but they already know who they're gonna hire.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. Now I'm getting some good information, because I got people texting me and emailing me stuff that are in these positions, but they don't want to come on because they don't want to mess with their money. So I'm going to give you guys a little insight that this is facts. This guy played in the NFL for 13 years. He was an assistant coach for 6, strength and conditioning for 4. Lots of experience in the NFL. Been in several locker rooms, 7 locker rooms, 13 different head coaches, 20 different coordinators, tons of experience. He told me straight up, Brown, the reason why you don't see black GMs and executives in the front office is because what Ken just said, they are all old white billionaires. And he said, yeah, a lot of them are racist. And they do have the good old boy, because they're friends with all the chancellors of the SEC schools. They go golfing, eating, do all kind of stuff with all these SEC schools, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, all these commissioners and ADs. They all have a hand in the hiring process. He told me straight up, there's guys in the NFL can make one phone call and have a player kicked out the league for life. Just that easy. One phone call can have a player not get a scholarship at Alabama. They have so much freaking power. He told me it would make your head spin. He said, and so the reason why you don't see it, he just flat out said, he goes, because they don't want a black person, or N-words, what he said, looking out for them ends. We need them to run the ball. That's what he said. He said, if we let an end get in there and get in the GM and get into the front office, they're going to start looking off the rest of them ends. And then we won't be able to make that money off of them. Being like how the contracts are structured, how they do the soft salary cap, how they mess with your money. You know, you come out of college, you know, they don't even give you guaranteed money. He said, yeah, if we let them in there, they'll start fighting for all that stuff. They'll start thinking. And then when they did the CBA bargaining agreement, they threw the marijuana in there. He told me straight, he said, they threw it in there just to shut people up to make them vote for it. He said, that's how ignorant that they look at the players. They're like, oh, if we put the weed up in there, they'll sign. Let them smoke the weed. The whole while, he said 80% of the league already smoked weed. So he was just telling me how embedded the racism is inside of the NFL. He said, bro, don't even buy into it. They don't care about us. The college universities don't care about us. They'll never hire a black head coach. He said the SEC, when they had Kevin Sumlin, he said, look at Texas A&M. They were balling. They had like back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners almost come out of Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel and the other kid was balling. #1 team in the nation, took out Nick Saban. They fired him off one bad season because he yelled at the kid Mons, was a top draft pick, a top high school prospect out of Texas that was supposed to go to UT, but he didn't get in. And then Sumlin put him on the bench, and he got a call late at night, said, my son don't start Saturday, your ass is fired. And then Sumlin was out of there. So I'm just telling that story because people think this is all a bunch of hogwash and it doesn't exist. Man, this stuff goes down. It goes down daily. Okay.
I mean, it's a world that was created for them.
But that's the
and
NFL.
they like it because it works for them.
Yeah, that's the NFL. That's the big beast. That's the one that everybody rally around. But if people don't want to look in the big picture, the NFL is flat out racist. College football is flat out racist. The NCAA don't give a shit about those players. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to throw Zion under the bus right now. Talking about, oh yeah, didn't you take some money from Duke? Hell yeah, I took some money from Duke. What does that got to do with anything? How much money did Duke make on Zion off one freaking season? I mean, think about they make.
Let me ask you something. So with this pandemic going on, we're not supposed to be around each other. We might not even have sports come back, right?
Okay.
But the NCAA approved for 3 sports to come back to school early so they can begin training and blah, blah, blah in the event sports come back. Do you know what those 3 sports were?
Football, basketball, and
women's basketball.
All men's sports, though.
Why not the fall sports?
Right. No money.
Why not the actual sports that are going to be playing on September 1st?
They don't make enough money.
And who plays for these teams?
All brothers.
Black kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go.
They think we're stupid.
They think
we're stupid.
No. Can let me ask you this question. You a top prospect right now. The NBA, the high school kids are doing it already. They saying, screw it, I'm going to the G League. Get my 500 racks, and I got a guaranteed scholarship. So if I tear my knee up, I still can go to Michigan, Duke, whatever, Louisville. Give me an education. I got 5 years. Okay, 5 to do for $500,000. You're a #1 high school basketball player. I'm taking it. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm not playing for them. I'm going to get the pro money. Ken, what are you thinking about now? Since the workforce in the NCAA football and the NCAA basketball is all black, why don't they just form a black college players union and gain more leverage and dump the amateur athletic part off of them and just be pro athletics in college? Because that's what they are anyway. I don't care if anybody wants to admit it. College football, Division I football, high level, that is pro football. College Division I basketball, high level, Final Four, that is pro basketball. Anytime you go watch any Division I high level football game, it ain't even got to be Florida State, Miami. It could be. I mean, these are grown ass men tearing their bodies apart on Saturday. So why don't they just dump the amateur athletic and just stop playing games and just basically employ players to come play at their university, and then you ain't got no scandals. And you can do it like a salary cap for each school, just like you do in the NFL. What do you think about that, Kid?
Well, I'm kind of on the fence with that because me being a college student and the fees I paid and the lines I waited in and all the stuff I had to do, it was, you know, I believe the athletes are being paid when you have the free scholarship, when you don't have to go wait in line to get your classes. All your classes are just gotten. You get a meal plan. You stay on the dorms. I feel that they are getting paid, but these they should not be broke. They should have money in their pocket. So they should have some type of system to where at least these top schools and these top players are getting like $3,000 a month or something. They shouldn't have to shoplift food. They should be taken care of.
Okay.
Some type of way.
All right, Drew, let's move on a little bit right here. So let's go on, Drew. Talk about life at USC. I did a little homework on your grad school, man. You know, everybody know USC, University of Southern California down there, right next to the projects. In case y'all ain't never seen it, it's not UCLA, Westwood, all tapered and.
Don't confuse it.
Don't confuse it first. If y'all coming out of town, don't get it twisted. You want to go see Reggie Bush play and all that. Make sure you get a little escort if it's dark. Okay. But you have a hell of an alumni out of that place, though. I mean, you got Neil Armstrong, first dude to step on the freaking moon. You got Forrest Whitaker. I love Forrest Whitaker, great actor. I like that dude. You got John Wayne, old ass John Wayne with the USC. I saw that. I said, damn, John Wayne. Okay, then you got.
He played football for a year.
Yeah, you got Robert Zemeckis, a big time movie producer, film production. I mean, this guy's huge. You know what I'm saying? Born in Chicago. You got Dr. Drew, USC. Another Dr. Drew right there. Two Dr. Drew.
John Singleton too.
Yeah, John Singleton. You got Tom Selleck and George Lucas. You got OJ. You know, okay, all right, we'll move on. You got Judge Ito. Anyway, I had to throw them two up in there. But anyway, yeah, so historic university, obviously, that's just a few of the alumni. We can sit here all day on USC. We wouldn't even want to do the sports alumni. I'd take a whole nother show on that. But
right,
life on the campus on that university, you know, a lot of very, very prestigious university, a lot of alumni, a lot of stuff, a lot of power. I'm just naming a few. A lot of power on that campus. Talk about life on that campus.
It was fun. I had an incredible time at USC, and it's a really beautiful campus. It's kind of, I was only there for about 10 months or so, actually, because my master's program was that quick. But it was interesting seeing it in all its seasons and all the things that they offer. What was interesting is I was able to compare my experiences at UOP and USC. And I have to say that USC does a really good job of trying to bring these people that we're aspiring to be right into our school building so we can have conversations with them. I mean, you know, me being in the journalism school, they did an event where they brought in Issa Rae. Issa Rae did a talk with us. Lester Holt did a talk with us. So not only are we seeing people that we aspire to be, but we're also seeing people of color. And at least so I went to Annenberg. Annenberg's the School for Communication and Journalism. They have a specific diversity and inclusion task force. And other students will tell you that it's not perfect. It's still not perfect, but the effort's there, I'll say. And it was amazing to be a part of a community that actually was proud and took pride in school spirit. You know, getting to go to football games. I mean, we had a game against Texas, and the entire LA Coliseum was completely packed. And that stadium fits like 90,000 people for a college game. So to your point about it being professional sports, it basically is. Right. I mean, they're making money like it's a professional sport, right?
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting. My apartment was like on campus, but it was a 20-minute walk to my school building, believe it or not. So they've, in a way, kind of gentrified the area so it's not as much crime as it used to be. They have what they call ambassadors, so they're essentially security guards, and they work from 9 p.m. to like 6 a.m., and they're standing on street corners to prevent crime and to call the police if anything happens. USC has its own police force. So, but it's a giant campus with a lot of different people. Sports was amazing. It was a good place to be for sure.
Cool. Ken, you got any questions for her about that USC life? I can't hear you, Ken. I think you lost your audio. think we lost his audio. Okay, we'll get back to him in a second. He's gonna probably jump back in. So at this point, Drew, wrapping it up. We're coming down the home stretch. We touched upon this. I was gonna touch on this one. We're gonna move on from this one. We already discussed this. I was just curious to this real quickly. What is your thoughts on hold on a second, get Ken up here, see if he I just wanted real quick, we didn't spend too much on this one, but I just wanted your thoughts on it's a real Ken, can you hear me? Ken. Oh, he's right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say,
yeah, we got you.
We're gonna move on real quick. This question right here, Ken, you can answer it first, Ken, and then we'll let Drew finish it off. This word here, man, accountability, man. You know what I'm saying? We talk about all this stuff. We're talking about this stuff, and this is all good. We're trying to keep it right. But I ain't trying to be like negative, but do you guys agree that a lot of this is not going to go away until accountability by the actions by the police officers, and it has to be actions by pretty much all, man, I hate to say it, but it has to be by all men of power. If you happen to be Black, that's you too. I mean, because what I'm saying is that the power can't be misused. It has to be used in the proper text. So we got these college coaches and stuff calling players the N-word. You got NFL coaches calling players, suck this part. Man, how you gonna tell Darius Slay, a 3-time Pro Bowler, pro starting cornerback, to tell him to stop in another man's private area? You can't have no white coaches talking to Black men like that. So the accountability has to crank up a big notch. And what do you guys think about that? We need to have more accountability. I know what you guys are gonna say. If 45 is not accountable, how are we going to hold everybody else accountable?
Well, a lot of it is because a lot of people with power and money, they have privilege. And like just with the case you guys was talking about, that young man had privilege. His father was connected to the judge. You never have heard of anybody getting a 3-month sentence and like a year probation for any type of rape. And it needs to be accountability for judges like that. It needs to be accountability for players that were in the NFL. The one player, Cooper, whatever his name was, got caught.
Riley Cooper. Yeah, Riley Cooper.
Got caught saying the N-word, no consequences, no repercussions. Now, if he was on my football team and he came in that locker after that season, after saying that, we gonna sit up there and talk. We're gonna have a talk about that, and it might not be a good look, because sometimes you gotta show them. Sometimes it's no more time for talking. Sometimes it's time for action. And yes, they all need to be held accountable. There's no accountability. A lot of them are just connected and good old boys and above the law. That's why we continue to have the problems with the law that we have, and the problems with the judicial system that we have, because there's no accountability. And I heard something interesting yesterday about the George case, and they said that if it was reversed and it was just regular people holding him down and somebody else standing watch, they all would be charged with the crime. It wouldn't be one. All of you guys are accountable for that. So you're absolutely right. We need to have a better track of accountability. It's like it's 2 sets of rules, 2 sets of standards. We got the rules for the minorities, then we got the rules for these connected.
What you got, Drew?
I agree completely, especially with the abuse of power by law enforcement. I mean, anything. Have you guys seen or read Just Mercy? I mean, anything a cop said is taken at face value. There's credibility problems. There's, oh crap, I'm a cop. My daughter got a DUI. Let me make it go away so it doesn't ruin her life. Oh, I can go and kill somebody because I can justify it. You know what I mean? So there's a great abuse of power there. And, my grandfather actually was a police officer. He wasn't a police officer at any point during my life, but I try to look at it, try to be a devil's advocate too, okay, let's look at it from that perspective. And I still can't quite understand why some of these things still happen.
Hey, Drew, your volume's kind of, Drew.
Devil's advocate.
Hey, Drew, your volume's kind of cracky.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Is it better?
Yeah. Okay, hey Drew. So right now,
might be the internet.
Hey Drew, let's go right now to this is the part, the glue portion, where you name your glue people that was important in your household, anybody outside your household. Touch upon that, and if you don't mind, letting everybody know, part of the reason why I'm going to bring you on the show is because you are a biracial kid, just like my kid. I don't say biracial, I say blended. My mom told me that you don't raise people, you raise animal. You bring up children and you teach children, and you blend and you mix colors, but you don't mix people, you blend people. So that's the way I look at it. People know me 50 years, I've never said the word mix ever. I've always said blended, because my mom taught me that when I was 10 years old. You blend people, you mix colors. So tell us how that is. My wife is white. She's frustrated, a lot of stuff going on. I'm not always happy to hear what she had to say. Her side sometimes it's not always perfect. People think just because you're in a biracial relationship that both people are always in. Yeah, we're in harmony. We're not arguing. She's not like saying he didn't deserve, George Floyd doesn't deserve. It's not that level. It's just that sometimes they want to comfort you and make you feel better, and you ain't trying to hear it. So, because I look like George Floyd. You don't. And so sometimes, even when you're married, like I said, people don't want to admit it. I will. Sometimes you don't want to hear it. Like, I'm good. Let me just sit by myself. I got to think about this. It's crazy. This is messed up, man. Brothers get killed. So how does that feel? Because I know my daughter's blended, and I know she's been battling. We've been having conversations with her about, Mom, why does white people this and white people, why, whoa, 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 whoa. And, we talk about it. So how is it for you being an adult biracial child, and how are you handling that part?
Yeah, honestly, I've struggled with my identity and where I fit in probably my whole life, because I grew up, kids in high school would say stuff like, well, you don't sound black, you don't act black, like you're white, you sound white, you do white things, like, or, call me a mulatto and stuff. And I know it wasn't necessarily like, I'm racist, I hate you. It's more of like they don't know, because that's just what they were taught. And now people are acknowledging kind of their biases from growing up, but I've never felt a part of any specific racial community in my entire life, still to this day. And I'm okay with it. At this point in my life, I'm okay with it, because everybody's mixed, blended at this point in life, right? But during times like these, it's hard for me, because I want to speak out. I want to say how frustrated I am, how angry I am, because I also am a person of color in this country. Looks at everybody based on one drop roll. Let's be real. But also, I am not accepted by the Black community because I didn't have the same experience as they did, and I'm looked at as being different by them as well. So that's something that's been hard. I mean, even at USC, I lived with a Black girl. Like, we were friends with a couple other Black girls too, and there was a group text, like a student group text, like a bunch of USC Black students, and I wasn't invited to it. And so he was like, "Oh, did you see what happened in the group text the other day?" I said, "What group text are you talking about?" "Oh, you weren't invited?" I just figured. I'm like, "Well, no." We sat down and said, "Hey, Drew, you're a biracial person. You're a person of color. You might share some of our experiences. Why don't you come and join this?" And people often don't know, because I don't feel comfortable saying I'm just African American or I'm just Black, because that's not just what I am when I'm applying for something. I always put two or more races. I always put other, because that's what I am. So with that, with all that said, I'm happy to feel like I'm my own person. But when you're growing up and you're still trying to figure yourself out and you don't fit in anywhere, it's hard. So I can empathize with all the blended kids that are growing up today.
Yeah. Well, you turned out well. So I guess it's safe to say your glue people.
Thanks.
It's safe to say your glue people is your mom and dad.
Yeah, my mom's Black, my dad's white, and I'm the only child mixed kid, and I think we're doing all right.
Yeah. Is there anybody outside of your household that had an influence in helping keeping you straight? I mean, because your mom and dad are awesome. They didn't probably need too much more help, but is there anybody that kind of like, was around the way, like looking out for you other than myself?
I've playing sports and having coaches and, other teammates' parents and stuff. There's stuff that some of my coaches, my hitting coaches and stuff have said that stuck with me throughout my life. So I definitely say my softball coaches, some of my teammates' parents. None of our immediate family members live in California, so one of my best friends and her family, they're also my family. We spend all of our holidays with them. They give me Christmas presents to do like I'm one of their grandkids. So I will say this, blood isn't always thicker than water. You can find people that'll really treat you like family regardless if you're actually related or not. And I think getting the discipline and camaraderie of working in a team sport and being taught by somebody that's actually a really good coach is extremely influential in making a good game.
Oh, okay. I dig it. Well, here's the part right here, Drew. You have an amazing life. Man, we covered a lot of stuff here. Yeah, man, you covered it all. You're a smart kid. I hope to bring you back on at another time. But kid, can you go to the last part of this of the glue?
Yeah, so this is the part we call the plug, where you will plug in a local organization or a local business that you feel helps the community and has helped you, or, you know, somewhere that you think deserves, you know, a special plug. And it can be more than one spot.
All right, I'm going to start with one that's a little bit more virtual. So I'm part of a community called, please let me know if my volume's all weird too. But I'm part of a community called Galvanize. And
Galvanize.
It
Galvanize?
was started by, yes. Yeah, Galvanize. So it started by a sports broadcaster, Laura Open. And she has created a space for women who want to be sports reporters and sports broadcasters or be behind the scenes, maybe doing sports PR for professionals. And she's created a community and paired us with the NFL teams that get to work with them, et cetera, et cetera. And so most recently, we're working on doing a boot camp for Black women specifically within the sports industry. So that's my virtual plug because it's a nationwide thing, if you will.
Oh, nice.
And then local, that's tough.
That's nice.
Sorry. Yeah, it's cool. I'm really excited about it. So we'll see what I'm kind of like on the 6 people that are leading the charge. So I'm excited to see what we come up with and who we can help. And then locally, I don't quite know. And it's hard to say in Alameda because it's not necessarily, it's diverse, but it's not that diverse. But again, I guess going back to sports.
Well, you know what, Drew? I'll plug one for you for Alameda. I'll plug Trabuco Kitchen and Cocktails, owned by Christina.
You work there.
Christina and
yes.
Stephanie Nacarelli, beautiful family, nice people, do a lot for the community. Any business is struggling, they always chip in. Whenever there's a community member and needs help, they chip in. They help out with the high schools. Their kids are already out of high school and they still chip in. So I plug Trabuco Kitchen and Cocktails, right there, located in South Shore, in between Safeway and Trader Joe's in the back end of it. Very nice Italian restaurant. Hey, Drew, man, I want to thank you.
Delicious food.
No, but hey, Drew, I just want to say thank you for coming on. Once again, you're a fantastic person. You have a bright future. Look forward to seeing you on television, you know, in the near future. And when you do get going good, don't hire those 5 Black girls that didn't put you in that group text.
I know, right?
No. Hire them and dog them out.
Oh yeah, hire them and dog them out. Yeah, make them cover a little league game in Alaska. Yeah. Hey Drew, put them on a mission in Alaska to cover a little league game.
Yeah, there you go. Be like, I'm going to the ESPYs. You guys, you can stay home and watch it. Take some notes.
Hey KP, you got anything for Drew, man? It's a special little.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No,
she's a special kid, man.
And, hopefully you get back on track. COVID in 2020 has derailed a lot of stuff for a lot of people, but keep pushing because it's going to get better.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, Drew. Be safe. Take care. Tell your mom and dad I said hi.
Will do.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.